Hey guys, welcome to RC Video Reviews. We have our second radio review in a day, 24 hours. Pretty cool, huh? I got you guys. I got you. I know I got you. Anyway, hey, this is the Radiomaster T15. And I know that the other videos all posted like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. I wanted to do something a little different though. I wanted to let all the other channels go through the specs and show you guys the speed and talk about the CPU, because that's all going to be the big news. And I will do that, but at the end of the video. What I'm going to do something completely freaking different than every other channel on YouTube. I'm going to show you how to use the stuff. All right. We're going to start out first. You guys have all seen the videos, right? It's the T15. It's a very cool radio, very much in the form factor of the Boxer, and I just closed the case instead of opening it like a dummy. But there it is, the T15. Really like the case. You know, this is, I think it's really cool that Radiomaster is including this as a form-fit case, very snug fitting. It's nice. It's a nice thing. And I do use these in a production basis. Like, this is not, you know, I'm not selling. I'm just telling you guys, I use this. I use these cases on my radios every day. So I personally appreciate that they're using these cases now. So we got something to go to the field with our radio, right? Okay. I'm gonna show you performance. We're not gonna just talk about it. I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show you some of the tricks that this radio can do that I know people are asking about. So we're gonna start off. I just want to show you just by starting off. All right, I'm gonna make sure all my switches are in the right position so there's no errors. But I'm gonna start off by just turning the radio on. So this is the H7 CPU. We've been waiting for this. So I'm gonna press the power button, and 1001. I mean, it's barely. I can barely get to like 1 second, and it's booted up. All right, and you just saw the screen brightness, kind of crazy there. You can see I've already got my theme in there, my RCVR patriotic theme, which is very cool. Brightness. There's a blowout for you. I mean, that's blowing out my screen. You can see the colors around the edge here turning darker and darker and darker as the camera tries to accommodate for that brightness. You can just see it happening, right? Very bright screen. We'll cover those specs later. But what I want to do before we go any further is thank Radiomaster for sending this unit out for review. Very nice of them to engage the community like this, provide these sample units, and let you guys see what's going on out there, like how this works. But okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I told you I'm going to show you how the thing works. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to grab this model, and I want to show you. Come on, pick the right button, John. There, I just want to show you one little trick. Like, check that out. You see the LEDs that are there, and now they're off, and now they're on, and now they're off. It's all you could do, like a party trick with your friend. You could say, "Hey, watch this." Snap your fingers and they're on. Snap your fingers and they're off. Right? That's the gyro at work. All right. That's the gyro at work. And I'm going to show you the configuration real quick just so you can see it. Now, that's just one little party trick. Okay. It's just one little party trick. I don't want you guys to get wrapped up around the logic of, well, it's kind of stupid to use the tilt to turn the lights on. Yeah, no kidding. I know it is. But I'm just showing you that you can do stuff with it. Like, you know, the gyro is there. You can do some things with it. So let me just show you how I did this. In the model setup, I'm going to go over to logical switches, and I've made a definition. Let me zoom in a little so you guys can see here. I've made a definition, logical 01, that says tilt Y. And by the way, this is tilt Y. This is the Y axis, and this is the X axis. Okay, so you have both options. So there's tilt Y. And all I did was say, hey, when logical 1 is on, I want A greater than X, tilt Y is greater than -30. And then this L02 is on when tilt Y is less than -45. My theory on that was, like, just if you wanted to do something kind of cool with the lights, right, and using the gyro, if you wanted to, you could say, well, when I'm looking at the radio, and right now, by the way, this line of sight from here to here that's my direct line of sight to my eyeballs. Okay, when I'm looking at the radio, I don't want the LEDs on blaring out my eyeballs, right? But when I'm flying, and I go to the field and I'm flying, and I set it down into my flying position, maybe I do want the LEDs on. Right? It's just a cool little thing to try, but that's the gyro. That's the IMU. You'll hear about the IMU or the gyro. Those are the settings I use just to show you, do a demonstration of how it works. Now, Real quickly to show you that's the logic to make it work. Here are the special functions that make it work. You can see when I have L01 on, I have the RGB LEDs white on, and then when L02 is on, I turn the LEDs off. Okay, it's that simple. Nothing more to it than that. Just 4 little commands, and I've got this kind of cool little party trick, right? Where I don't have my LEDs blaring my retinas out of my face when I look at it, but when I'm flying, you know, they're there, right? That's kind of cool. One use case. I've got a lot more. Just wait for it. I'm going to show you. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is an arming sequence. Now, again, this is one. It's just a method, okay? I'm just showing you guys a method on how I'm giving you ideas. This is an ideation design. It's not meant to be, it could be used in production if you wanted to. And I'm not suggesting for a second that you have to, you know, or that, you know, that I recommend a complex arming. But, you know, when it comes to arming, people get nuts about arming. You know, oh, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way I do it. I don't care. I'm just showing you logic, okay? So just take it for what it's worth. But here's the deal. What I want to show you right now is I'm moving my throttle stick, right? I'm moving throttle up and down. And you can see on channel 3 right here, I'm getting no movement, okay? All right, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to arm this. Oh, and by the way, I also put the L in this particular model configuration, I put the LEDs on a switch so I can turn them off, okay? All right, now throttle up and down, and I'm going to dim the screen just a little so you guys can see better. Okay, there we go. So throttle up and down, no movement on channel 3, okay? No movement. Now, you can't do this on any other Radiomaster radio. This is the only one that I know of you can do this, okay? And it depends on the 6 buttons, the 6 customizable buttons, and the IMU. So here's the arming sequence I set up for this plane. It's just a way to show you how to use logic with this stuff, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press numbers 1, 2, and 3. And notice when I do that, they change color to red. So three buttons. Now I could have just done 1 or 2 or 3 or 1 and 3 or 1 and 2, whatever. Right? I could have done any combination I wanted. I just wanted to do 1, 2, 3. And I set those as red. The next thing I have to do is pick up the radio and tilt it like that, 90 degrees. And when I do that, notice that I now have arming. You see how my stick is moving? My channel 3, my stick is moving and my channel 3 is moving. So that's armed. All right, that's armed. I have the volume all the way up. Yeah, I do. Okay, so that's armed. Now, if I want to disarm the model in this particular configuration, I have to disarm by pressing 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. And when I do that, we're now disarmed again. Now, I could have set it so I just have to press SE to disarm, or I can press, you know, SC down to disarm. I could use any combination I wanted. I just wanted to show you guys a method to use the buttons, right? Because the buttons are new to the EdgeTX Radiomaster family on the TX15, the customizable buttons. All right. So again, the arming sequence, really simple. Notice I'm moving my stick, no motion on channel 3, right? Nothing happening there. I'm going to go ahead and say, this is a 2-stage arm, right? Buttons 1, 2, and 3, they're armed. Now, we still don't have any movement here, right? I have to tilt the radio. I'm using the gyro and just tilt it and that arms. And now I can move my stick. You could even put a safety in that says, hey, this also has to be down before you tilt it. There's all kinds of things you could do. But let me show you the logic on that. I just want to show you how I did it, all right? So in this particular case, I've got logical 3, and what logical 3 says, it's an AND switch. And the cool thing about this is what I'm doing here is I'm ANDing V1, that's as dim as I can make it. I'm ANDing V1 and V2 together. So the first thing that happens is the radio says, hey, if switch 1, that's this guy, and switch 2 are down, that's the AND condition, that's met. And then we have a second AND that says, and if SW3 is down, then this condition is met and logical 3 should go active. So let's show you what that looks like. Right now, you can see logical 3 is active. If I press any one of these buttons, any one of them, logical 3 will no longer be active. So I'm just going to press number 3. And you can see logical 3 went off, okay? Now I can turn logical 3 back on just by pressing this, right? And now it's back on again, okay? So logical 3, that's the first condition. So in order for my arming to work, I have to have logical 3 on. So L3, 1, 2, 3. Now logical 3 is on. Okay, now here's the tilt function. I say when the tilt is less than -80, then that means and L03 is active. That means L04 will go on. So right now, L04 is not on because we haven't tilted it more than 80 degrees. So I'm going to try and tilt it and keep the bar in the frame so you can see it. We're looking at this bar right here, L04, right? I'm going to tilt, tilt, tilt. Once we get past -80, you should see that bar light up. There it was. You see it? That lit up, all right? The bar lit up. And when that happens, now I have a final switch, that's a sticky, that says when L04 is true and L04 is true, I want you to go on, all right? That turns the arming on. So L05 now that's the state that I'm interested in because my switches were depressed and I tilted the radio more than -80 on the gyro. And then L05 goes active as a sticky, so L04 was true because we tilted it and my switches were all depressed. That's L03 right there, okay? All right, so the sticky switch, remember, that's like a light switch on your wall. You turn it on, you turn it off, right? When you turn it on, it stays on until you do something different. The thing that turns this sticky off is L06. So the way I get to L06 now is switch 1, 2, and 3 have to be up. Now, I could have made any combination I wanted. I could have said if switch 1 or switch 2 is up. I could do that. Any combination that you want, right? You could have just said if switch 1 or 2 or 3 is up. You could do that. So there's lots of different ways to do it. I chose to turn 1, 2, and 3 all off in order to disarm. So watch number 6 right here. What will happen is I'm going to press 1. And you can see 1 is bold now, right? You can see that. Now I'm going to hit number 2. And now number 2 is bold. Okay, we're getting close, but we're still armed, right? If I press the model button, I can still see movement on my channel monitor, right? Still active. I have to press the 3rd button, so I hit number 3. And when I do that, now my sticky switch turned off because L06 was active. And if I press the model button, you can see when I move the stick, L03 output doesn't move, okay? So it's just a demonstration on how you can combine things like the customizable switches right here and the gyro to do different things with your model, all right? You could use it for inputs. You can use it for outputs. There's all kinds of different things you can do here. Okay, so that's the LEDs. We did the LEDs on and off. We did the arming. Now I want to show you another one that I think is really cool. My timer right now, let's see, it says 4 minutes 27. I'm going to arm it, and we're going to get the timer going. So I'm going to get that timer going. So I put my throttle up. Now my timer's going, right? Because we're armed. So 4 minutes 23, you can see it counting down, right? So now what happens if I'm flying and I want to know my time? Check this out. If I tilt the radio, nothing happens. This is a different configuration. The LEDs are off because I didn't want those distracting us for the demo. So if I tilt the radio, nothing happens, right? I hear nothing. It says nothing. But if I press this button right up here, that's SF. That's a momentary switch. If I press that, I'm going to hold the radio up to the mic so you guys can hear it. So I'm going to press SF, right? That's to press. Now I'm going to tilt the radio up and listen.
3 minutes and 49 seconds.
It called out my time, right? How cool is that? So you're out there flying. You can tilt the radio, do whatever you want. Fly, no noise. It's not going to do anything. But if you hold this and say, hey, what's my time? There you go. You can get your time. So it's just a little combo. Now you could not, you could avoid this as a secondary switch. That's like an arming switch. And you could use this for any other tilt functions you want. But I thought it's kind of cool. I'll press this down, hold my radio up, and I can get a call out. Now, the reason I put a switch there is what if I'm flying and I want to look at the screen, but I don't want to hear the time, right? So it's just a modifier to allow you to control logic on the screen. Let me show you how I did that. All right, real quick. This one's pretty easy. All this one says is L07. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. Oh, it already is zoomed in. That is zoom. Okay, L07 says when I've tilted it more than 80, right, in this on this axis, on the y-axis, and the SF switch is down, that activates logical switch number 7. All right, so logical switch number 7 is real simple. When that goes on, it plays value my flight timer. So it plays value FLT, and if I show you my setup under my timer, that's right here. My timer is named FLT. Okay, Pretty cool little trick, right? It's just a neat little thing that you can do with the radio to say, hey, you can take advantage of that gyro. Now, is that too complex for you? Is that more than you needed to know? Maybe, probably. For most of us, yes. I know, for my arming, it's just one switch. That's all I need. And I use a momentary button on the back to hear. But I'm just showing you concepts, right? I'm just showing you ideas on how you can put these tactics and techniques and capabilities of radio to work. I can assure you over time, I'll be doing more videos on utilizing the gyro and even the 6-button customizable switches to give you additional programming ideas for your model setup. So we'll do that over time, as time goes on. Okay, so we did the LEDs, we did the arming, I did the callouts. That's the logic I wanted to show you tonight on the radio. Now, I'm going to show you something else that I'm pretty sure nobody else covered, but I've been interested in this from the very get-go. And I'm going to switch over to my desktop and I'm going to bring this over. So I actually ran a test. One of the things I've been very interested in, and you guys that follow the channel, you know that I've covered this before, right? I've gone through some level of detail testing rewrite speeds and figuring out the best format of the SD card in order to get the best performance out of the TX16S. And I can tell you that in the T15, I was really looking forward to a massive improvement because it's onboard flash. And I'd really hoped with the speedier CPU that they'd have more bandwidth between the CPU and the memory, the onboard memory. And I can tell you that from a read perspective, what I did, guys, was I took my sounds folder off my TX16S. I copied it to my desktop. My desktop is stupid fast. My interface to my desktop where I read SD cards is capable of something like, I don't know, it's like 490 megabytes a second. So it's definitely, my computer is absolutely not the bottleneck. And I ran testing between my SSD drive, my main SSD drive on my computer, which does like 2 gigs a second. I don't know, it's fast. 2048 megabytes a second or something. It's pretty fast. So I copied from my SSD drive to the SD card on the TX16S, my regular daily driver, with the SD card formatted properly for speed. And I got, on read and write, I got 28.02 seconds to copy a 12.4 megabyte sound folder. And to write that same exact folder back to the TX16S, I got 1 minute and 58 seconds. So pretty, that's normal. It's very normal. It's about the best I've come up with so far. On the TX15, I did the same test. I did a read 28.08 seconds. I'm going to call that human error in terms of hitting the start and stop button on the stopwatch fast enough. I'd say within 0.06 seconds. So very, very close on read. On write, 1 minute and 25 seconds. Now, initially you look at that and go, wow, that's not much of an improvement, but really it is. It's 25% faster. That's a full 30 seconds. It's a full, 38 seconds faster. So it's over 25% improvement in the write speed to the SD card. And that is going to the onboard flash. What I haven't tested yet is what happens if I put a properly formatted, and this radio does support a FAT32 format. What happens if I put a decent SD card in the trans flash slot and try that? I will do that. I just didn't have time to get to it today. All right. I will do that test. That'll be an upcoming video. We'll go into more detail about this, but what I can say on my initial examination is that the TX16S read and write speed, the TX16S and the TX15 read speed about the same. The write speed about a 25 to 28% improvement in the write speed to the TX15. Okay, I told you this was going to be a different review. I wanted to show you guys really what's going on here. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, I'm going to go back to the overhead camera. Because the graphics improvement, I'm going to show you guys some graphics stuff. And in the graphics stuff, what's important to me here, I've got a Nexus set aside over here on the side, and I'm going to go into my system button and I'm going to load up Rotor Flight 2. 1 minute, guys. Doing a lot of talking here. I need a little drink, quench the thirst. Okay. What I've got here is this is the Rotor Flight 2 Lua script 2.2.1. And the reason I wanted to show this to you is because number one, it's now touch. And number two, if you pay attention to what they did here with this Lua for rotor flight, it looks like everything else. It looks like the rest of the radio. And I got to tell you, this configuration, this model, this is internal firmware stuff, right? If I go back out to rotor flight and click on that, first off, it loads almost instantly, like almost instantaneously. And then when I click on things like status, everything here looks like the radio configuration. I mean, the integration, the level of integration I'm seeing right now is just mind-blowing. Like, poof, mind blown. Mind freaking blown. Because this Lua is operating every bit as fast as the internal firmware, which just blows my mind. It's pulling this data from the Fly Barless, which, I mean, I have it hooked up. It's right. I don't know if I can reach it over here. I'm going to try so you guys can see it. There's the Fly Barless. It's hooked up. I'm reading from this. That's the only way this script will load, by the way, is if you can read from it. And when I hit return and go into anything, it just loads up instantly. It's like in the firmware. And I'm going to tell you guys, it wasn't like this before. First off, the rotor flight Lua did not look this good, not even close. This looks fantastic. It looks like it's part of the radio. And I've got access to everything. I've got access to everything that you can see on a Nexus. So I'm just kind of blown away here. Like, this very impressive outcome here. Very, very impressive outcome. I'm really stoked by this. So congratulations, rotor flight team, the EdgeTX guys, LVGL2 implementation, all spectacular stuff, man. This is really good. And we'll take a look at Express LRS, because I know this is a question that people want answered too. This is the dual mode, right? This has got the 900 megahertz and the 2.4. I'll cover this in the specs, but this has got both of the bands. So if I scroll through, I'll show you some of the options. We've got K1000 full low band, DK500 2.4, 200 full low, 250 low, 50 2.4G, 100 full 2.4G, 150 2.4, 250, 333, 500, 50 low band, no 1000. So we got 50 low band, 100 low band, 100 full low band, 200 low band, and that's it. So those are your options on the Express LRS. And I like, my favorite for flying fixed wing is always 333 full, pretty much, because that gives me 16 proportional channels. I like that. And then the other thing that I know has been a question, I want to cover this, make sure you guys can see it firsthand, what's going on with TX power. It is 1,000 milliwatts max, so I can crank that up to 1,000 milliwatts. And of course, it's got dynamic, and you can set your fan threshold to whatever you want. So 1,000 milliwatts is the max power for the onboard Express LRS module. All right. And I'm just going to set that down to 250 so my fan doesn't blow. By the way, my daily driver is 250 milliwatts internal, and it's been fine. I've flown everything I have on it, all my helicopters, all my big airplanes, everything. It's been spectacular. So Express LRS works really well right out of the box, as expected. No big surprises there. Really like what's going on there. And again, I told you guys, this channel is different. We're going to do things a little different. I'm going to show you something else. TBS Agent 099. You guys know I don't have a TBS transmitter on this radio, right? There's nothing on the back. But if you didn't know this, you can use Agent Light to configure your Express LRS stuff. So there's my TX15. I can go in there and set all of my parameters right in here, just like I could as if I were in the Express LRS Lua. It works just as well. Sorry, scratchy throat syndrome tonight. Don't know what's going on here. Okay, that's it for the tour. I'm just going to check my checklist real quick, make sure I've covered, we covered the SD speed, we covered the LEDs, we covered the logic configuration, I covered rotor flight, LVGL2. Now I want to show you a firmware update because, again, it's different. And I told you I was going to show you how to use the radio. So let me do this. I'm going to switch over to my desktop, and I want you to see that I've got a firmware on there. TX15 firmware. It's called UF2. Notice it's not binary. When I first saw that, I was like, wait. What is this? What is this? I was kind of curious about what the heck was going on there. Now, I want to bring in my overhead, and for some reason it's not there. So let me see if I can figure out what's going on here. All right, let's see. There we go. I got it. There's the camera. That's what I was looking for. I just wanted to bring this into the picture for you guys so you could see what was going on here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect my flybarless now, and I'm going to connect the radio to the computer. Yeah, it's complaining about telemetry loss. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to connect the radio to the computer by plugging my USB-C in right on the top. By the way, also make note, let's select SD real quick. There we go. Make note, no USB on the bottom. The only place you have it now is right there on the top. One single USB port for charging and flashing firmware and all that stuff, which is cool. That's good. I'm good with that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, oh, you know what? That's not what I'm trying to do. My mistake. We're going to shut down. I want to boot into the bootloader mode is what I want to do. Okay, now I'm going to plug in the USB cable. There we go. Okay, so I plug that in, and what you see on my screen right away is I have this pop-up for EdgeTX UF2, all right? UF2. Once that pops up, pay attention on my screen and the radio here. I'm going to move this folder so you guys can see it, and I'm going to take the firmware, the UF2 firmware, and I'm going to drop it in that UF2 mount on my radio, okay? And when I do, I'm going to bring this radio up so you guys can see what happens. I'm just going to let the binary go. And when I do that, you can see that it's writing the firmware all by itself. I didn't touch the radio. It's just writing the firmware to the radio by itself. And then when it's done, all you got to do is unplug. And you're done. Your radio's flashed. There you go. Look how fast that came up. I mean, right away. it just rebooted itself. I mean, I don't know how much easier these guys can make this for us, but for Pete's sake, man, that's about as easy as it can possibly be. I mean, all you got to do is not screw up the firmware and get the right firmware. I just thought that was really cool. Robert says, hey, does the top have the rubber port? No, they don't have the rubber ports in them. So nothing, no. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. Here, I'll show you my daily driver. Yeah, let's take a look at my daily driver. It's literally the first thing I do when I get a TX16S, rip those rubber things off because I can't stand them. They get in my way. First thing I do, take them out of the box, rip those rubber covers off. I hate those things. So yeah, I got to tell you guys, man, that firmware upgrade, you just saw it real time. I mean, look how fast it happened. All you got to do is put it in bootloader mode, drop the firmware in the folder, and it does it all. It does everything. It just starts flashing it. And when you unplug it, reboots, and you're into the radio. You're done. So really, really, really good. I think that's outstanding. Okay, I'm going to check my checklist, and I think that's it. That's what I wanted to show you on the radio. Now we're going to go into I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to answer questions, and then after I answer questions, I'm going to go through the specs. And the reason I'm going to go through the specs is because Radiomaster was kind enough to send me the radio. So I kind of owe it to them to kind of go through what you get in the box and the specifications on the radio. But I told you I wanted my review to be different. I wanted to show you how to use the radio. And I think I've accomplished that tonight. So next thing we're going to do, I'll answer some questions, then we'll cover some specifications and what you get in the box. I'll cover this, and then we'll wrap up the video. So let me scroll up a little bit and see, let's see, okay, a little conversation about where to order. Yeah, by the way, I would ask you guys, if you don't mind, I've got an affiliate link in the description. It helps the channel. You know, if you guys order the radio, channel gets a little bit of a kickback, doesn't cost you anything extra. Affiliate links in the description. Appreciate it if you use those. Okay, Rambo Flight Ken, there's a question about the gimbals. So let's talk about the gimbals. These are AGO2s, they're full size, and they are compatible with a TX16S, a Boxer, and of course the TX15. So they are the standard full-size gimbals. You can use them on any of them. And they come in different colors too. You get red, gold, I think black, I think is the other color. Let's see. H7, wow, yeah, no doubt. It's very cool. Very, very fast. Let's see. Precious has a younger sister. This is the new Precious, I think. I'm going to definitely be flying with it. Part of the reason I really want to fly with it is because it's just hard to describe, you know, like every single thing you do is virtually instantaneous. like 1 second boot time. The screen looks really bright. The buttons are fantastic. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that too. That's a functional thing that I think warrants a discussion, because I know people complained about this stuff. I know I did. Look at the frickin' labels on this thing, man. They're big and they're bright. Congratulations, Radiomaster. You did that right, because some of us are getting a little older. It's a little harder to see these things. So I think they did a fantastic job with the labels. Big, bright labels. SA, SB, SE. No doubt you can see them. T3, T2, T1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Even the button labels are nice and big. Very legible. That's another call out I'd have to make on this radio. And of course, you know, the antenna, very convenient. It rotates, so you can set it in either orientation, horizontal, vertical, and it folds down so it doesn't get in your way. And you can actually leave it down if you want to fly like that, and that's fine. No problems. So yeah, very cool stuff. Okay. So let's go back to questions. Yes, on the forum, pretty freaking cool. Okay, Lau, you made a logic key. Always doing the logic, man. Spectrum has the same thing, only there's brownout and you have to hold your radio up as high as you can to chase your plane. That's funny. I can totally see assigning gyro to rescue. Yeah, snap the radio up in a quick pinch. Yeah, that's one thing. If you guys have ever thought you've had a failure, that's the first thing you do is put it straight up in the air, right? Lift it up and put it straight up in the air. That could be a fail-safe trigger, you know, for the radio, because it's an instantaneous human reaction. You don't have to worry about pressing any buttons. Just lift it above your head, straight up and down, and bam, fail-safe mode's active, right? Very cool. Let's see. That's definitely a good idea for a gyro. Interesting idea. I have a pre-armored complex bands before arm. Yeah, you gotta, you know, it's all up to you guys, man, on how you want to do your arming. You know, no doubt about that. Does it take AGO1 gimbals? Yes, it would, because they're standard full-size gimbals, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. I think the AGO2s probably are an upgrade in every sense of the measure. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to go in the system and show that too, because I would like to make sure that you guys see the analogs. Let's check that out. We'll see how clean those are. We'll get to that in just a second. Does it have Gemini X, or maybe you already answered that? I think I already covered that. It's dual band. It's 900 megahertz and 2.4. Did the speaker get bigger or better? Robert, always hard to tell. Inside, it's hard to tell. It doesn't, like, when I say I want an improvement in the speaker, my description of what an improvement of the speaker is I want it so loud that I have to turn it down because it annoys my ears. And I don't think they did that, but it does seem reasonable. The only real way I can tell is by going and flying with it at the field. So I will have to go fly with it before. Again, I'm going to reserve judgment just like last night. I'm going to go fly with it. I'll let you know. I'm not sure. Opening up the boxer to change, add, do anything inside was held, put back together. I haven't opened this one up yet. We'll do that. That'll definitely be a video in the future. No doubt about it. We'll take a look. I didn't really have problems with the boxer though, so I'm not sure. I really didn't really have much of an issue with it. So anyway, okay, let's, the other thing I wanted to do is show you guys the consistency on the Hall effect sensors, okay? Because this is, I know in the earlier versions of EdgeTX, this was a problem. So what I want to do is I'm just going to move and I want to show you guys, all right, we've got on the right-hand side, we've got 03 and 04. So I'm just going to move those sticks, let them center and let them go, and let you guys take a look at stability there. So 03 and 04, that looks pretty solid to me. On 01 and 02, that's obviously going to be throttle. So we've got our throttle there. And on 01, we've got our rudder. So let's take a look at those. I just moved those around a little bit. And there's rudder and throttle. Throttle's on the right at 1010, rudder on the left at 1024. And that's looking pretty solid to me. I really don't, there's no movement, no drift, no movement. So I'd say, yeah, that's a nice improvement. I know some people get really animated about drift like that. It's never really been a problem for me. I've never noticed it in production as an issue, but I know some of the radios do it. I get it. So I just wanted to make sure I took a minute to show you that. Okay. So I think that pretty much covers the radio tour. Let's do the buttons real quick so you see it. Antenna I already covered. Got a DSC port, USB port, a headphone port. If you want to listen to your audio quietly at the field on your own, might not be a bad idea to plug in some earphones. Just like the Boxer, you've got the latching switch over here on the left. You got the momentary on the right. I'm going to cover the modification options available there later. So hang tight. We'll get into that. In terms of the switch layout, SA, 3-position, SB, 3-position, SC, 3-position, SD, 3-position. You've got S2 up here. Very, very nice, solid detent. That is a great detent right there. No mistakes at all. And then over here on S1, you've got another nice solid detent. No sliders or rollers on this one. So if you use sliders or rollers for flaps and gear like I do, you're going to have to make adjustments. Like you might have to use some combination of these 6-position buttons. The trim switches slightly, I don't have my boxer handy, so I can't tell you, but it looks like the switches are physically the switches themselves are a little bit different. Of course, the grouping, the logical or the 6-position customizable, they're, all a little bit different. And notice, if you didn't catch it, you can change colors. You've got full RGB control on the lights. So I've got these set up as green. These are set up as red and white. You can control them to be whatever you want. This is the max version, of course. So I've got the AGO2 red anodized, and this one came with the sticky 360 or 360 stickies or whatever they're called. They came on the radio. And then we've got anodized aluminum system model buttons, great tactile feature and feel there. The roller switch feels excellent. And then the buttons over here on the side, aluminum, and they're great. No, I mean, it's just like the exact right amount of pressure. No looseness, no wobbles. I mean, it feels great. And then the power button, power on and off. 1 second, like 1,000. There it is. It's already booted up. Blows me away every time. SD, where's SD? There you are. Okay. So that's the physical tour of the radio. And then on the back, you've got your battery port. This one, I've got some 21700 lithium ions in there. I'll show you. There is an SD card slot if you want to put your own SD card in there, and your internal flash will be bypassed if you do that. I will do some speed testing to let you know if I think that's worth it or not. And then you've got the full JR bay on the back. All right. So, and the handle is it's a kind of a web handle, very secure, 4 screws holding it in. No problem. I don't have any problem with that. I think the only people that might have an issue with that are the ones that use the handle if you lay it down while you're working on it. And I actually do that on my TX16S. I'll set it down there and just poke at it. So I know there was some discussion in the chat about using the adjustable handle from the Boxer. I don't know the answer on whether or not that'll fit because I don't have that handle for the Boxster, so I don't have that one to test. But anyway, that's it. That's the physical tour of the radio. Let me show you I already showed you the box. We covered that already. I'd like to show you what comes in the box. And they did make some, Radiomaster gave me in the brief, they gave us a little bit of information about what's included and what's not included. So what's not included with the retail unit are the batteries. In my case, they did send me some 18650s for the radio. I think that's to make sure that the reviews can be done without any excuses about power. But I immediately took mine out and put in some 21700s, and you can see they fit no problem at all. In the 5,000 milliamp hour pack, the retail packs, they fit in there as well. So it's a 2-cell balance charging on the back on the circuit. So it's built into the radio. You don't have to. Now I'll pull you guys know, if you follow the channel, I will pull a battery out from time to time, put it on a proper balance charger just to check things out and see how they're doing. But in terms of what's included, I just want to make sure you understood. You'll need to supply your own battery. The 18650s they sent for review units, and I put in some 21700s. Okay, now in terms of switches, there are some extra switches that you can add for SE and SF. Okay, SE and SF are right here. This is SE on the left side, SF on the right side. There's an additional set that's been added in the box for the reviewers for demonstration purposes. These are not included. The ones they gave us are 3 positions. So these will be optional. I just want to be clear. These will be optional. So it is a 3-position toggle switch. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 position. And they are mountable in the SF and SE spots if you want to switch the shoulder mount switches for traditional toggle switches, which I will probably do. I like to have a momentary over here, a 2-position over here, and I like a momentary over here. So I'll probably make that change. Now this one, these are both 3-position switches. Do they have a momentary? They do. This one's a momentary. So I'll be able to put that in SF, and then I'll be able to put a 3-position over here on SE, which is fantastic. I like that kind of configurability, man. I like to be able to do it. Robert says, I've never been a fan of those black switches. I know a lot of people don't like them. I'm not a big fan. Anyway, here's the mounting kit that you'll get for the toggle switches. So you can see they include the black plates that'll replace the switch itself, and then the switch nuts that'll take care of holding the toggle switches in place. And then inside the bag, there's also a couple of spring sets to adjust your gimbal tension, and a hex driver to, again, adjust your gimbals if you want to do that. So that's what you get inside the box. There's also an inventory card and a decal. There's a decal in the box. Let's take a look. Make sure you guys see what you get in the box. I'm going to set the radio down before I knock it over. Okay, so you get a little quick start guide. I tend not to use these things, but you get one. And there's the decal kit that you get. So if you want to mark up your radio with EdgeTX, Express LRS, Radiomaster, I think it's very cool that Radiomaster includes their partner logos in here. I don't see RC video reviews in here anywhere, Radiomaster. Just saying. RC video reviews, that'd be nice if you include RCVR logo in there. I'd love that. That'd be fantastic. Okay, that's what you get in the box. All right. Now it's time for the specs. Let's get to the specs. I actually have this prepared for you guys, and here we go. We're going to take a look at specs. Okay, now instead of just giving you guys a straight cut and paste, I went through the review sheet and the website, and I included things that I thought were interesting. So notable features. The H7 obviously is the star of the show, man. This thing is a beast. It's a beast fast. It is just insane. Now, I'm going to tell you guys one thing. I don't know if other reviews mention it or not, but I'm going to switch over to my Zoom for a second, and I'm going to see if I can get it to do it. But one thing that I noticed, if I watch really closely in here, sometimes if I edit something, I'll see a screen tear. It's like it's perfectly, almost perfectly diagonal. And it kind of just there it was. I just saw it. So it kind of depends. It's not easily repeatable. Like I can't make it repeat all the time. But you know, I'll go from screen to screen sometimes, and I'll see this like it's like a tear diagonally. Yeah, it doesn't happen every single time. I just want to make you aware of it. It's literally nothing more than a minor annoyance, and I'm sure if the Edge guys know about it, I'm sure they'll work on it. But I've noticed it on the screen a couple times, and it lasts for like a millisecond. So for those of you who are picky about that kind of thing, just be aware. I have noticed it, and it doesn't matter which firmware. I've seen it on both of them. So regarding the touchscreen, I'm just making you aware that I've seen that little tear. It's a minor annoyance, but it doesn't seem to have any impact on operation at all. So the H7 is beastly fast. The screen, 3.5-inch, 600 nits. Very, very bright screen. These are the V5 Hall sensor gimbals. The Express LRS is now converted. Now you get 2.4 and 900 megahertz, whether you like it or not. You got it. The foldable antenna I really like. I think that's actually really cool. And it seems robust. It seems compact. It doesn't seem like it gets in the way. You can change the orientation however you want. So I really like that. I think the antenna looks great. The built-in microphone for future expansion, that's interesting. Are we talking to the radio soon? Maybe. I'm not sure. Hey, put my landing gear down kind of thing. Who knows? The built-in gyro, I got to say, is very interesting to me. It's one of those things like popcorn. It's like popcorn and a touch screen. If you were to ask me, hey, John, would you like a gyro in your radio? I'd be like, I really don't care. And now that I have it, my brain went to work right away trying to try different things with the gyro. So it is a notable feature. Whether or not you use it, that's up to you. But there are some possibilities there. Like I showed you a timer call out. If you have telemetry values, you could call out telemetry. So instead of, when I did that play value thing, I did the clock, right? Instead of doing that, you could switch it over to RSSI or RQLY or voltage or whatever other telemetry you have, head speed, RPM, whatever, your call. So very easy to do it. So there might be a lot of functionality with that gyro. So that is a notable feature. The memory, the integrated 4 gigs. I'm really happy about the 4 gigs things because I've been preaching this for, like 3 years now. People get worried about the SD card size on EdgeTX. 256 megabytes is more than enough for 99% of use cases. They just upgraded it to 4 gig and called it a day. And it is faster. So it's a notable feature. We no longer have to worry about fiddling around with SD cards. You don't have to drop them inside the radio. You don't have to worry about speed and formatting. It's all set, ready to go, out of the box. You're ready to go. Plenty of space. You should be happy. Okay. I do like the interchangeable shoulder switches. I think that's a nice feature. And I'm really happy to see Radiomaster making that easier because in my first TX16Ss, I used to have to desolder these toggle switches off of the PCB and resolder them on the other PCB. And I really didn't like that. So the fact that they made this process to switch them over much easier now, they're on their own PCBs. It's one wire. All you got to do is open the radio up, put your switches in, plug them in, and button the radio up. That makes me very happy. Very cool. The full-size JR Bay is nice. I like that because it's integrated. It doesn't get in your way. You plug like the wireless module in the back, for example. Use it as a trainer. That's really cool. And then the gimbal ring LEDs. It's nice that they're integrated and integrated with the software. So you can change the LED colors. You can do purple, black, blue, red, white, all kinds of different options, whatever you want, however you want to configure them. You can do, police style, red and blue blinky lights. You got all kinds of, if you like goofing around with that kind of thing. So, and you might even be able to use some logic on that. I haven't really fiddled around with it, but if it's a logical switch setup, I assume that you could do some logic with the colors and say, hey, if I'm doing this and I want my LEDs, yeah, I think, let me switch models here. So I'm just going to check real quick because as I thought about that, I'm like, hey, that's actually kind of a neat idea. Yeah, they are special functions. So you can control the light colors with special functions. So you could have the LEDs give you visual indicators of what's going on, like a flashing white light when your time is getting close or something like that. I'll do some videos on that kind of thing. We'll have some fun with it. So I think those gimbals, the gimbal features are a notable feature. The gimbal lights are a notable feature. It's kind of cool. Not only are they installed and on the radio, on the Max, by the way, keep in mind, this is the Max. But now you can interact with them via software. You don't need a hardware apparatus to change the lights. You can interact with them via software, like logical switches, or you can assign a switch to them and interact with them via hardware. So that's really nice. That extensibility, really cool. Okay, key specs. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I thought were key specifications I took out of it outside of the CPU, which is obvious. The transceiver, the Express LRS, you get both 2.4 and 900. So you've got bandwidth options there, right? You've got frequency options. If 900 megahertz is what you need for penetration purposes, you fly in bandos, concrete buildings, obstacles in the way, maybe 900 hertz is what you need. Maybe if you've got a really noisy 2.4 gigahertz noise floor, 900 megahertz might be your answer, right? You could switch over to 900 megahertz receivers and get away from that 2.4 gigahertz noise floor. Keep in mind, all the Wi-Fi routers all around, like if you fly in a field that's got a lot of houses nearby, you could have a very saturated 2.4 gigahertz noise floor due to Wi-Fi routers in the houses near your flying field. Possible. 900 megahertz kind of cleans that up for you if you want to switch bands. And of course, you got the 1000 milliwatt TX power, which again, I've been flying my production radio on 250 milliwatts now for a year and a half and never had a problem with it. So, 1000 is there. If you want to use it, that's fine. It's there. So I don't make judgments about it. If you think you need it, go ahead and turn it on. It certainly doesn't hurt anything to turn it on. I'll put it that way. 672 grams without the battery is the weight. The antenna gain is 2 decibels, transmit power adjustable. The battery, 2-cell, 7.4 volts, 18650s, 21700s. Take your pick. The gimbal sticks are M4s. The gimbals are quad bearings. And again, the gimbals are compatible with full-size Radiomaster gimbals. You see AGO2s can be directly installed as an upgrade to a standard TX15. No modifications required. Works in the TX16S, TX15, and the Boxer. So there is the that's the list. Is there anything else the Max has, the normal TX15 has, besides the obvious, the gimbals, LEDs, and shell? I don't think so. I don't think so. I haven't really, to be perfectly honest with you, Matt, I haven't done a reconciliation and said, okay, here's the price difference between the two and what you get. My answer is just get the Max. just opt for the Max. Get the good stuff, man. Let the factory install, and then you'll never wish you did. But you know, if money's an object, you know, then they give you options for something a little more basic. So that's that. So that is, whoop, hey, that's the wrong video. Oh, my camera looks like it died, huh? What's going on here? Let's see if we can get this back up and running. Looks like my camera may have powered itself down. Hold on 1 second, guys. We're having technical difficulties. Yeah, battery died maybe? Let's see if I can get another battery in there. There we go. Sorry about that. Had to swap batteries. Odd. I wouldn't have expected it to die so fast. Okay. So I think that's about it. I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to do on the TX15 with you guys tonight. I do want to say thanks again to Radiomaster for sending this out. I say this a lot, and I really mean it. I really mean it. When the vendors, the hardware manufacturers out there start working with the community, and that's what I saw here, right? They start working with the community. They engage the community and work with the developers. This is what happens, right? We get a much like 300% improvement in CPU speed. We got integrated flash. We've got a faster read write speed. We've got software integration to the physical apparatus like the LED rings. Instead of the traditional momentary switches, which you can use them that way, you can also put them in groups and do very creative things with the 6-position switches. You can configure the lights. You can change them to whatever colors you want. They've given some options for the shoulder switches, so they've cured that problem. The antenna, I think, is a much improved design. The form factor, I've always liked the Boxer form factor. The TX15 feels really good in the hands. It's definitely a very compact, but could easily be considered a daily driver radio. Yes, you do lose a few switches, right? Because you only have, instead of like on the full size radio, you've got 4 switches on the top, right? You've got these 4, and on this one, you've only got the 2, right? Instead of 4. And then you've got 4 up front. You've got 4 here. You've got 2 pots, no sliders. So you lose a few things, but, and you lose a couple trim switches, right? You lose the T5 and T6 trim switches. So those are gone. But I would say overall, they're heading in the right direction, right? The gimbals are upgraded. You've got all that integration I talked about with the LEDs and the software. You got the 1 milliwatt or 1,000 milliwatt or 1 watt transmit power. It's definitely an upgrade. I mean, there's no doubt. This is a next generation radio, and where you really are going to see the difference when it comes down to brass tacks. Let me plug in rotor flight again. It's going to be in the extensibility features, like we're seeing, like rotor flight with the forward programming, right? You're going to start seeing a really nice integration with the software that extends the functionality of the radio. And this, to me, is one of the first examples of what you can expect over time. I think it's just beautiful. Like the integration is really, really solid. So that's it. I think it's a nice upgrade. If I had to buy one, I would absolutely buy one and try it out. I don't know if I would replace my regular radio yet. And part of the reason I even bring that up or mention that is because I would have to change some of my configurations. Like, for example, I use this momentary switch on the back all the time. All the time I use that. And I do use, for when I have airplanes that require flaps and gear, I use these extensively. That would require some mental retraining to get over that. But I can tell you that it is a fascinating bit of kit. And if you're looking for a second radio, if you're new to the hobby and you're looking for a very high quality radio at a reasonable price, I would take a look at this one. It definitely warrants a look. I think Radiomaster really, all I can say to conclude is I really appreciate that Radiomaster engages the community. They work with the software developers, and they're listening. They're listening to the people who buy their products, because I really do see that they made some changes that are meaningful. And so that's what I like about the TX15 quite a bit. So that's all I've got for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you learned something about some of the options you have for configuration. And, you know, I got to tell you guys, I spend a lot of time getting ready for these videos, preparing, educating myself, practicing, working on these configurations, learning how to do the firmware flashing, because I don't have anybody to show me. So if you appreciate that, there's a couple of things I would ask you to do. One, please consider subscribing to the channel, you know, because you don't want to miss the content. If you stuck around this far, you must like the content. So subscribe, that helps. Number two, hit that thumbs up button, because that's meaningful too, because it helps my videos get placement. There's a lot of reviewers out there doing this kind of content. If you guys like what you saw here and think it's worthwhile material, then help others find it by giving me a thumbs up. I mean, that's really meaningful. And then if you're really dedicated and want to help out, you can consider joining the YouTube channel or patreon.com/RC Video Reviews. I've got tiers as low as $3 a month, cup of coffee, you know, like Starbucks. So I use that money to pour it into the channel, to buy hardware, to buy equipment that I need to use to test and show you guys what's going on. And Patreon, all I can say is the patrons really help out a lot there. So I'm grateful for all my patrons and my YouTube channel members. And if you'd like to, you know, help support the channel, those are two different ways you can do it. So I'll answer one last quick question. Matt Smith, he says, what do you use the button on the back for on the TX16S? Actually, it's a 3-function momentary. So if I press it for less than a second, I get my voltage. If I press and hold it for 1 second, it beeps and says, okay, that's the 1 second. I get my RQLY. And if I press and hold it for 2 seconds, I get my time left on the flight. So it's a really cool momentary feature. And I could have added 15 functions if I wanted to, but 3 seconds. It's you know, less than 1 second between 1 and 2 and between 2 and 3. And I get different functions. So I use that extensively every single day. I'm out flying. I'm constantly hitting that button with my finger. Like, how's my voltage? You know, where's my flight time? You know, constantly hitting that. Now maybe with this radio, you know, I could do a quick little tilt instead. You know, who knows? We'll figure something out. All right, Cos1973 says, great stream. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And William Cox says, nice review, John. Well, thanks, William. Appreciate that. And that's all I've got for tonight. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Remember, if you want to get one, I've got a link in the description. It's an affiliate link. I get a little kickback. Costs you nothing. Go out there and get one. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And don't forget, subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the bell. That's all I've got for tonight. Take it easy and go fly something.